Can everybody talk?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm ready.
Yes.
I have opinions. I want them heard.
I am ready.
We are Popcorn Fizz and Vinegar, giving you a raw take on movies, television, and pop culture. My name's Chris.
20 seconds into the show and I missed John already.
That's it.
What?
And,
What?
That's it. We got two guests.
Why you gotta be that way?
Two of them. our own Alec Baldwin.
I'm back.
Gary Rucker, back again.
And I'm in John's seat. I'm keeping it nice and farted up like he likes it.
That's it. Hey.
So
There you go.
And dude, not even one show out, and Adam Zehner comes back. So
Hello, everybody.
That's
I'm
it,
back.
call him Boomerang.
Yes.
All right. So before we start with this, we have to start with the obligatory. Or how do we say that? I'm sorry.
Non-obligatory.
Obligatory.
Obligatory. Sorry, the obligatory plugs for the Rivertown theaters.
That's
bro.
right.
So what do we have going on, man?
So we're still rehearsing 9 to 5.
Ah, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Are you rehearsing it from 9 to 5?
No.
Okay.
From 7 to 10.
Okay, so you got to go.
Yeah, it's a real off topic.
All right.
So
It's an okay script that we're fixing.
very quick question.
Yeah.
Do you actually perform? Because I remember you said you guys were going to do The Wedding Singer, but The Wedding Singer...
No. We're talking about that show.
Well, but
Yeah.
doing The Wedding Singer play, they say that they're not licensed to do the 80s songs that are featured in the movie, so they wrote a bunch of original pieces.
Yeah, it's a musical. So.
In 9 to 5, do you get to use the Dolly Parton stuff from the movie? Or
The 9 to 5 song?
yeah, the 9 to 5 song
it's
is...
featured heavily.
Okay.
Yeah, in the show. And there's even a video of Dolly herself singing it in the show.
Is it a musical or is
Yeah,
it...
it's a musical,
Okay,
but
it is a
that
musical.
song's in it. Yeah.
Okay, I got you. All
It's
right.
one of those. It's the kind of script that when they wrote it, back in the late 70s, it was kind of edgy, and these people were younger. It's like we were talking about with Eddie Murphy off recording. It's like now there's like a new sensibility, so they've tamed it a lot.
Yeah.
So we're going through and untaming it because if you're going to call him a sexist, egotistical, lying, hypocritical bigot, he better do some of that stuff.
Yeah,
So we're
yeah,
having to,
it's
plug
like
that
far
back in.
worse to our standards today.
Yeah, but
than
it's
what it was
a
back
lot.
then.
It's a good cast. It's a lot of fun. So.
Well, that's good, man.
Yeah, it's funny.
Good shit. Well,
Yeah.
we're going to dish on D23, which is now since Disney owns everything, they don't need Comic-Con anymore. Now they just have their own.
Yeah, it's just
Almost everything.
Yeah, they got their own
Yeah.
fucking convention now. So they go. Well, it is an expo, not a convention.
Expose yourself
So
to Disney.
I basically took the big pieces of this, and we'll go ahead and we'll talk
Okay.
about these things. So first of all, we're going to talk about Disney itself, the parent company that has their own features, whether they're animated or whether they're live action. Emma Stone is going to star as Cruella de Vil. This is going to take place in London during the punk rock era of the 70s. And I think that this kind of goes on to what we thought Disney was going to do with live action stuff like Maleficent and Cinderella, where it was kind of like this, not really darker, but this kind of more grounded, version of their animated films, brought to live action. I think they're kind of getting back to that with this kind of movie.
I prefer that to just the blatant remakes of what they're doing right now.
Yeah,
Or
agreed.
prefer that to like Lady and the Tramp,
Yes.
which looks
We talked about that a little
pretty
bit. too.
miserable.
Well, we'll talk about that in a second. But that's that. I mean, and we'll jump to it now. I'll stay on the live action stuff. Speaking of Lady and the Tramp, I get it. I understand it. What it comes down to is that you have to have some kind of exclusive thing. And since they're going through all these remakes, Disney's Lady and the Tramp, it seems like it's the cheapest one to do. So you could do one that's, for a relatively low budget. It's a beloved movie. And you sit there and say, oh, this is going to be exclusive to our service. And that works out really good for them.
It feels like filler.
It does feel like filler.
It is filler. But that's the thing. Content. I mean,
dude,
dude,
you got to fill the whole thing.
look
but
at fucking Netflix now, dude. Like, Netflix now is like invaded by reality television shows now.
Yeah.
They got their own segments of reality TV, and there isn't anything good about them. It's as the same shit you would see on A&E or Bravo or the Food Network or any of that shit. There's nothing special about it.
Right.
So, and Disney will have its share of schlock as far as that stuff's concerned. So, dude, all right. So,
I don't know.
the
what he's
Gary and
laughing
Scott
at.
show's going on right now.
Because
So,
Scott is doing a million other things but paying attention, but every once in a while he just zooms in and go, right. And then he goes on to something else. We need to video this because it's crazy what he's doing.
He's got shit to do. Look,
Well, I know he's
got to engineer everything. He's got to make sure everything's working.
Ginger
And then I
Bumblebee.
got to hate everything.
He has to hate everything that everybody else
No, but
loves.
here's the
That's a
thing,
lot
though.
of shit to do.
Yeah.
Like his Giny has been tickling so much because of Disney. Like I texted him the other day. I'm like, I've never seen you happy about anything. So the fact that you're like so excited about this channel, like I don't know what to do with like a happy ginger wandering around. It's weird.
Well, I can tell you that as somebody who is not a very like huge Disney fan of the older stories and older animations and like that, if you're going to make it a little bit different, then you're going to get my attention more than if you just give me what I saw when I was a kid.
Exactly. I don't need to
Because
see
if
Lady
you're
and the
just going
Tramp.
to like this Aladdin movie that just happened, why do I need to go and see that if it's going to be the exact same story that I saw when I was younger?
I actually liked it. I thought it was
too.
pretty good. It was entertaining.
But my feeling is you're never gonna make something more iconic than the original thing.
Correct.
So either do your own thing with it, or I'll just go watch the original thing because that's what I like.
Case in point, The Lion King. That's people have been shitting all over that movie, and
Yeah.
I didn't see it.
Well, it's once again, of course, my thing is comic books. If I get something that is exactly like it is in the comic book in the movie, then why do I have to go see the movie when I've seen that story already and that character already in the past? If you give me a little twist, I'm okay with that because then it gives me something to kind of be interested in to see, oh, wow, well, this is a little different.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that goes on to the whole Marvel thing, especially with the MCU. I think the reason why they've been so successful is, not only have they been able to make movies that translate very well to the audience, but they translate well to comic book fans because they do twists. But the thing with it is that it stays in the spirit of the character.
Yes.
And I think that's the reason
Yes.
they've had the
It honors
success
the
that
source
they've had.
material without copying it verbatim.
Exactly.
Correct. So that's that. Now this one I'm actually very excited to see because it's going to be a different take. The Mulan live action looks really good.
Yeah,
And
I'm
they
very
said-
interested in that.
They said it's going to be
Yeah.
it's actually going to be a period war movie instead of being a musical.
Yeah, that's cool.
And in fact, the musical elements of the original animated feature are going to be highlighted in the score.
Nice.
So
Yeah, they cut the dragon and cut the.
they cut out the cartoony elements and they're going to make it more kind of like a serious
See,
kind
that's
of
exciting,
movie.
'cause it's
Yeah,
like-
exactly.
Was there a book for this? Was there, for whatever? I think that the movie was supposed to stick closer to source material than what.
I always thought that it was a
Joan of Arc is what I
like
always
a
thought it was.
mythological story from Chinese history and like that, or real history. I don't even know. I don't even know if Mulan was a real woman that they based it on, or kind of like you said, Joan of Arc. Joan of Arc was a real woman
Yeah.
that became this legendary character. I thought the same thing for Mulan. I don't know.
Off subject real quick. Every time I think of Joan of Arc, I think of the movie The Messenger. Was it the one?
Yeah,
Mila
Messenger.
Jovovich, where the guy runs out and he reads the message and just screams
Yeah.
at the opposing army, "Go fuck yourself!"
Yes.
That's the only time I always think of Joan of Arc. So
No laughter from Scott. Let's keep moving.
yeah, because he didn't see that movie. So, but dude, he's got no soul. So
It's
I mean,
a
the only
fair
souls
fair.
he's got
It
is
had
the ones he
Dustin
steals.
Hoffman in it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Sure
It had
did.
Dustin Hoffman in it.
All right, and then our last one, Lady and the Tramp, which we've just covered. It's pretty much what it is. I think it's a cheap filler thing. They can be, oh, look, they did another live action, and we don't have to release it to movie theaters. And they probably sat there and said, looking at the optics on this fucking thing,
Yeah.
it probably isn't going to work in a release anyway. So let's release it to our Plus
I would have
series
been
and-
fine with their CGI mouths on the pets not talking.
Is
Like, that
Mulan's going to the theaters though, right?
Yeah, Mulan is
Yeah.
going to be a
Okay.
Yeah,
theatrical
Mulan's
release.
theaters from. I thought I saw a trailer already.
Yeah.
So did I, yeah.
But
Yeah,
it just looks weird, Lady and the Tramp.
It does.
It looks weird. Like when they talk, it's weird.
Well, it looks like
It's unsettling.
It looks like what were the movies that those cheapo movies that the comedian George Lopez, he played the little Chihuahua.
Yeah.
Beverly Hills Chihuahua.
Yeah, I don't even know. Yeah, there you go. I don't know the name of these movies, but my kid who's 7 years old thinks these movies are hilarious.
No, but
Oh yeah, yeah.
but it's
yeah.
the same thing. It's little CGI
Exactly.
mouths that move when they talk.
Yeah, but remember when Look Who's Talking added dogs? Like their mouths didn't need to move. It was just kind of like their internal monologue, and they could understand each other. I'm like,
Right.
that's better than.
That is better.
I'll take that. I don't
Right.
need- it's weird.
Oh,
I don't
well.
think they're going for hilarious. That's the thing.
Talking babies and talking dogs. That's where I draw the line.
That's your line.
That's my line.
I'm gonna write that down.
All right.
The only reason why I'm going to watch Lady and the Tramp is because probably my wife and kids want to watch it.
Yeah.
I have no desire to
And you're a
watch
good
that
family
shit.
man, and that's big of you.
There it is. Yeah, you got to take it for the team every now and
Sacrifices.
again. Big sacrifices. All right, moving on to Scott's favorite. most favorite thing: theme parks.
Theme parks.
Theme parks.
How many hours
Whoa.
did you watch?
More than we have for this show.
How many did you watch of YouTube videos on theme parks? You were talking about it.
Oh, probably most of my night last night and day before. But I watched it with my kid. Like, we both watched. So she was like, I'm going to watch this. And I didn't leave the room. So
Blames his kid for everything.
Yep, sure. So theme parks, Epcot. Yeah, not me. Epcot getting a major overhaul that will feature rides based on Mary Poppins, Moana, Ratatouille, and Guardians of the Galaxy. They say there's also going to be a new restaurant that's going to simulate you going in space. So the last thing I want is a space simulator when I'm eating something. It's probably going to make me hurl, but whatever.
yeah, I thought about that too.
But yeah, I mean, you have all of these culturally significant things that attach to the culture park, like Moana, Ratatouille, and Guardians of the Galaxy.
Right.
Well, is that going to be in Hollywood Studios?
No,
No,
it's going to be in Epcot.
That's
Oh,
going to
wow.
be in the
Because
not the land.
didn't they
the,
take Tower of Terror and make that a Guardians ride in like Disneyland or
In
something?
Disneyland, but this is an entirely new feature. This is
Nice.
going to be something that's entirely different, and they say it's going to be a roller coaster ride. This thing is basically like Charlie in the Glass Elevator. It goes backwards, forwards, up, down, and diagonal.
Wow.
And
turns.
yeah, it
Cool.
turns.
Does it all.
It does all kinds of crazy
It's like one of those
shit.
things you're in a room, or it's really going to move.
No, it's really going to move.
It's a roller
Sweet. Oh,
coaster.
that's awesome.
Yeah, the one in Disneyland, from what my understanding is, they repurposed the Tower of Terror to
Yeah.
where you do a jailbreak from Rocket Raccoon helps you break out of prison.
Yeah.
So that's
I
what
didn't know if they
that.
were going to do that.
In
Too.
the Epcot one, it's going to be in Energy, the Ellen
Okay.
DeGeneres. So
Gotcha.
that's going.
Oh, the
away.
old dinosaur thing.
Yeah.
That they. Okay, got you. I mean, hey, that's cool.
Yeah,
I
they
mean,
need to update Epcot a bit.
The thing with they're bringing like all their IPs, just bringing them on in, taking advantage of that shit. So
Yeah, and they've been
Might as well.
slowly doing that. Like the thing now with the Scandinavian pavilion, they've now moved Frozen into that.
Yeah.
They're now taking kind of the more cultural stuff from the Disney princesses or cultural properties that they do, and they're injecting it in Epcot, which they should do. I
Well,
mean,
now,
it makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah.
I think they've embraced the countries that those stories originate from, because when you go now, it's like if you want to meet Belle, go to France.
yeah,
Right.
Like,
Yeah,
they're all
yeah.
outside of their countries, and I think that's cool. Like
Yeah.
it,
The
there's
last
a reason
time
for
I
the kids to go back there now.
The last time I went to Disney World was back in the 90s, and things in Epcot were like, futuristic science fiction from the 60s.
Yeah.
So, now that's getting farther away. And, the kids nowadays don't have that image of things that would have looked like something like Buck Rogers or something like that. So it's, updated.
Well, the thing too, like the big Planet Earth thing, it's like when you get in, you answer those questions, and at the end, it tells you about. It's like you can do that on your cell phone now.
and
You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like,
oh,
that's
yeah,
not
yeah.
new
I agree.
technology. Yeah.
I agree.
yeah. So Spaceship Earth they're actually going to get rid of all that, like what you were just saying.
Yeah.
that outdated technology, and they're going to tell like it's going to be more story based as opposed to innovation and technology. So
Right.
Yeah.
What
A
I
whole
was
new thing.
the last time I
Yeah.
went to Disney, just talking about the theme parks, and it isn't anything that's really an exciting ride by any means, but I have to say I was very impressed with the revamp of the Hall of the Presidents. I
didn't know that.
like the way that they do it now.
Yeah, it's
And
good.
It used to kind of be like an American history kind of thing. Well, the way that they
Yeah.
do it now is that it actually thrives on the history of the office itself.
Oh, okay.
And
That's
it's
cool.
Really,
I
really
like that.
well done.
That's
Really,
very
really
well
cool.
done.
Yeah, I wish they could develop the technology that would keep Space Mountain from breaking.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
dude, when we went, Jesus, man, Space Mountain broke down and they had two lines. They had to cycle it to one line. We were in the fucking line for 3 hours.
Yeah, forget
It was a bitch.
Forget it.
Wow.
The last time I rode Space Mountain, I'm like, I'm officially too old to ride Space Mountain. I'm never going back on this.
I have to admit, though, man,
It's
my
rickety. It's
my
rickety as
eyes
shit.
still get wide, man, when your ass comes off the chair on that
Yeah.
one drop,
Yeah.
So
Uh-huh.
it's still exciting. Here we go. The Star Wars Hotel at Galaxy's Edge in Orlando. This thing is crazy. It's going to be what's called a space cruise. You actually don't cruise anywhere. The thing with it is that the hotel itself is a galactic starship that you're flying in, and there's going to be full interaction. You can just walk around the spaceship as if you're a regular resident of the Star Wars galaxy, or you can get involved in all of the storylines that are happening at the same time, which you can opt to work with the Empire or the new Order, or the Rebel Alliance.
Right.
And they say they're going to have all there's going to be actors that are going to be in there in the likeness of the movie characters, and you'll be able to interact with them and do all this crazy shit. I think some of the they're going to to provide costuming, isn't it? From
Yeah.
some of the things I saw. Yeah, you'll actually be able to like dress in costume the way you look like you're part of the movie.
Do you know if you'll be able to leave the hotel, or is it going to be quote unquote like a cruise where you
From
stay
what my
in?
understanding is that it's like a 2-day lock-in on a
okay.
cruise, but there's all kinds of crazy shit to
okay.
do. But basically, this is the way that it's sold. You're in this cruise for 2 days, and when you end the cruise, you land at Batu, which is the spaceport in Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah, that's great.
So it
that's
brings
the kind
you-
of cruise that I want to go on, where I don't have to go like actually on a ship and go
Yeah,
out
right.
at sea and like that.
Exactly.
$3,000
Yeah.
a piece. $3,000 a night.
Yeah,
Yeah, but it
minimum
keeps
2
out the
nights.
riffraff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
It's just you and a bunch of other rich people. It's
That's
the,
it. The
Yeah, that's
force,
right.
America.
The force is with you, the rich. So there
Yeah.
it is. So yeah, you got to be a thousandaire to easily
Right.
fucking.
I think I'm way too
Yeah.
cynical to enjoy that.
No
doubt.
steerage on
Like because you know,
the hotel.
Yeah, right.
No steerage. So
Leo DiCaprio.
yeah, no Leo.
The last thing with the theme parks, which is kind of the big one, and it's not going to go to Orlando. It's only going to be in Anaheim, and it's also going to be moved in Disneyland Paris, is going to be what's called Avengers Campus.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a Marvel-themed park that's based on the MCU. And I think the first big featured ride is actually going to be Tom Holland playing Spider-Man. More on that later.
Wow.
So that's all.
I didn't
that
hear
jazz.
about that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This
So-
going to be interesting.
Yeah, I think it's cool, and they say it's going to be like being the plans that I saw for it. It looks similar to the Stark Expo in Iron Man 2.
Oh,
So,
that
yeah, it looks,
see, man,
looks pretty cool.
when I saw that in Iron Man 2, I was thinking to myself, man, they need to do that. They need to make that part of the Disney theme parks.
Yeah.
Something
Yeah.
like that.
Oh, they're always thinking that shit.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
cool.
All right, moving on to Pixar. Pixar, from what they're saying, critically stole the show. There's one movie that's come. They have 2 new features that are coming out. One is called Onward. It's 2 brothers. They're voiced by Tom Holland, who played Spider-Man in the 2 Marvel-associated Spider-Man movies, and Chris Pratt, who plays Star-Lord in Guardians of the Galaxy. They live in this magical fantasy land, and they use a spell to resurrect their dead father. And it's like they play elves. It's like a fantasy, almost like Dungeons and Dragons-esque Disney world that they live
Wow.
in. And the critics who saw the portions of the movie, they said it was absolutely fantastic.
Wow.
So that's their one feature. It's called Onward, and this one I'm really intrigued by. There's another one coming out that's called Soul.
I just found out about that today. Yeah.
Jamie Foxx plays a jazz music teacher, and what happens is that his soul becomes separated from his body, and there is help from another soul to actually help guide him back. Well, it's going to be one of these kind of heady movies like Inside Out. What they're saying is that your soul is trained for your talents and who you are, and then is merged to you as a newborn. And then when you're born, your soul comes out, and that's where your talents and all the natural things that you're inclined to do come out.
Uh-huh.
So that's what the backdrop of this movie is. But what I think is really crazy is for a movie that's about a jazz musician, it's being scored by Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross.
Wow.
So that's really interesting.
Yeah.
It's a good cast too. I looked it up today, and it's
Yeah, it's I mean the main leads in it are going to be Jamie Foxx and Tina Fey.
yeah.
So that's going to be the.
You're in good hands with those two.
But dude, I
Yeah.
mean it's Pixar, man. I mean
Yeah.
Pixar really kind of has maybe like the car sequels, and the dinosaur one is kind of like their
Dinosaur one
misfires.
sucks. I'm now an expert on the Cars sequels
Really, I haven't seen a single
because my
one.
child's
of them.
obsessed with them, and they're pretty great. Like the second one has nothing to do with anything, but they're a lot of fun. Like they're good movies. So.
Third one was all right.
That one's but it's like it's about like moving on. I think
I know.
it's pretty sweet.
I hear the first one's really good, and everything after
The first
that
one's
is
Doc Hollywood.
yeah,
Yeah.
That's all it is. It's the plot of Doc Hollywood.
yeah, and it's completely unnecessary. The other 2.
The middle one's a spy thing,
Yeah.
and it's a lot of fun.
Okay.
is.
Eddie Izzard's in it. He's great.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I guess I might see those at some point. I
Yeah.
don't know. Have you ever seen these car movies?
I haven't seen a single one of them.
Skip every plane
I
movie
didn't.
though.
Yeah.
My kid's about to be 3, so
It's
within
not
3
really
years,
Pixar though.
I got
The
you.
Planes weren't. Planes was Disney animation.
Yeah, it's basically like saying, hey, Pixar, we really like what you've done with the car movie, and we're just going to kind of use that model to Disney animate something.
Yeah, I heard they're pretty terrible.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
they're
planes, I
terrible.
think, is it? Yeah,
It's called Planes. Yeah.
Yeah. Moving on to Star Wars. Okay, we get the big return for Clone Wars. The basic history of that is that Disney, Lucasfilm was kicking along just fine. It was owned by Uncle George. Uncle George decided to sell the company. There was a contract with Warner Brothers to do the Clone Wars. They were on their fifth season, getting ready to go into their sixth season. And the Disney sale happened, and they pulled the Clone Wars contract from Cartoon Network. They released what they had done, which was like 6 episodes, and it was called The Uncomplete Missions or something like that, which had some really great stuff in it. And they actually storyboarded a bunch of things and did the pre-animation, and they released a bunch of that stuff on YouTube officially, so you can kind of see where they were going. Well, what's really cool is they're going to bring it back for now what is a 7th and final season, which will be overseen by Dave Filoni, and it returns all of the original voice talent that were part of the original Clone Wars series.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see that.
Oh, dude, it's great. I mean, if you're a Star Wars fan and you really do like animation, the first season or 2, very kiddie, but then it gets into some great shit. When it gets into season 3, 4, and 5, I mean, dude, it's top shelf storytelling.
Yeah,
it's as good as anything that's been part of Star Wars.
I was a big fan of what they did with Ahsoka's character in Rebels, and I'd like to see if they expand a little bit more on just what leads her to that point. So I think I'm very interested to see it.
Well, speaking of Ahsoka, and we might get something involved in this, is that they brought out Diego Luna and Alan Tudyk, who played Cassian Andor and K2SO in Rogue One. They're going to have a spy thriller television series that's going to be exclusive to Disney+. They don't have any release dates on it yet. But they did come out and confirm that the show is going into production in January of 2020. It's going to be show ran by the guy who did The Americans for FX, which is a very critically acclaimed show. Mm-hmm. They're going to bring them in, but what's really cool is in the description of the show, Cassian Andor, which in Rogue One mentions he is part of the group Fulcrum, and it is revealed that Ahsoka is an agent of Fulcrum in Star Wars Rebels, so we might actually see the live-action version of this character finally on TV.
That would be interesting. That would be really cool.
It would be really cool, and if it was up to me, I would just get Ashley Eckstein to play Ahsoka. Put her, that's the actress that does her voice.
I was going to say, even if they don't even actually show you Fulcrum, if it's just him getting orders from Fulcrum, if they just get her to do the voice.
Yeah, and
that'd be cool.
And I think that's likely that'll happen. Yeah. But they're also saying that this opens worms to actually this opens a can of worms to bring back some of the prequel characters. We might even see Jimmy Smits play as Bail Organa.
Right.
Come back and do that. So So yeah, that would be really cool. I mean, I like that connective kind of stuff, and I love Rogue One. So I mean, if I get to see more of that world, I'm really happy with that.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Obi-Wan Kenobi. They walked Ewan out. Ewan confirmed that he's going to come back and return as Obi-Wan. I'm about this series.
I am interested because there was a comic that was done a couple of years ago that dealt with Obi-Wan in his exile on Tatooine, and it was involved with like Jabba's gang coming and messing with Owen Lars, and then Obi-Wan gets involved because, of course, he's looking over Luke. If you could do something like that, I'm interested. If this is going to be like, hey, General Kenobi, we need you to come off the planet for a while to come and do something, I think that stinks.
If they do that. If that character leaves Tatooine for any reason, pull down your pants and shit all over Obi-Wan Kenobi. That's what it is.
Yeah, right.
You cannot... His destiny, as far as I'm concerned, the character was pretty much bookended with the Rebels episode where he faces Darth Maul for the final time. It was beautiful. 3-minute scene basically ends that entire story arc and sums up what the character is doing and why he's there and why he's driven to do that.
Right.
And I think that's the only way you can feasibly do this. I think it would even be cool if you had who's the cat who played Owen Lars in the movie. He's a big actor.
Yeah. I can't think of his name right now, but he's in a lot of stuff now.
Shit. He was in Black Mass. He played the FBI agent.
He's in a lot of stuff now.
He played Ramses in the movie with Christian Bale playing Noah.
Is his first name Joel?
Joel Edgerton.
Yeah.
That's him.
Is that
He's in that new The King movie that they just
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they
Yeah.
could get him to come back and play Owen Lars, I think that would be pretty
yeah.
awesome.
Right. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like, make it where, like, how about you give us a story? Because this is kind of like what this comic story was, is an example of why Owen and Ben Kenobi don't get along. Like what? But yet they still respect each other.
Yeah.
They don't like each other, but they still respect each other. Give us a story like that.
Yeah.
And I think that's what they're going to aim to do, Adam.
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of rumblings and a lot of things that talk about the failure of Star Wars, and there's all kinds of
Yeah. Now it's the trendy thing now.
We'll never be able to confirm these things, but
Right.
they're talking. The reason why they're doing this thing on Disney Plus, and it's only going to be a 4-hour series, is because this was originally going to be a movie.
Yeah, I remember
but the
that.
Han Solo thing gave them
Yeah,
very
yeah.
cold feet.
Yeah.
So they said, "Fuck it, we want to do it. We want to bring Ewan back."
Right.
And I mean, dude, if you want to launch a service with
Test it out.
yeah,
And if it's great, make a movie.
Yeah, well, also it's the idea that, and I kind of, I made this point when I was thinking about just all these other series that are going to come out for Disney Plus, is that you could do something crazy like, like any of these stories, and then you can end up doing that as the series rather than doing it as this movie that's going to cost millions of dollars
Yeah.
to take a chance.
I think as entertainment consumers, like the lines are getting more and more blurred between like what's on Netflix, what's at the
And
movies,
if it does
like-
well, you can go back to it. If it doesn't, well, then you just move on to whatever the next thing
I
is.
still think these television series are going to cost
Big
millions
money.
of dollars.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. I'm sure that like the WandaVision one is gonna.
Well, let's talk
Probably
about
goes
this one, The Mandalorian, which they dropped the big time trailer for and went virally fucking nuts.
Right.
The thing with this show, dude, $10 million an episode.
Yeah.
10 episodes, $100 million.
When I saw that trailer that they showed over the weekend, I was very impressed with just how much stuff. Like they're showing that ship flying around everywhere, and I'm thinking, hey, that's a lot.
It looks like a movie, yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot.
This shit is like. This shit is like hey, Akira Kurosawa, we want you to direct a fucking gunfighting western, and that's what this shit looks like.
Yeah.
It looks like and a lot of, back to the behind the scenes thing. They're saying that this show is Disney's olive branch to the Star Wars fans.
Well, it's good. Give me an olive branch.
Yeah, so I mean, hey, look, if you, I really don't need a fucking olive.
No,
branch.
I know.
mean,
But after I feel like if this is hey, look, if they feel that way and they're going to give me something that's really cool like this, that's like, because that's one thing that I really liked about the Solo movie is that it was the most Western of them all. It was just like a Western in space.
Yeah.
They robbed the train.
Right. They even rather they rather train. Yeah.
It was a heist movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And
The common
I
things
really
that
love
we've
that
right.
movie.
Scott, shut the fuck up. But
yeah.
Oh, you want me to talk about Solo? Because I fucking hated that movie.
no, I know. Dude, you
Scott
hate
didn't like
everything.
something? Wait, go back.
You hate everything. So I mean, but no, I mean, look, through all of this shit with the Mandalorian, one thing that I liked about it, and Jon Favreau to me is like, he's the dude that's like the cool jock that's a fucking nerd. He's a hilarious dude.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's just really, really fucking funny. I mean,
Right.
if you want to like really get into some like real funny nerd humor, to watch like the cool jock nerd interact with the real nerd.
Yeah.
Him and Filoni's panel from Celebration. And I mean, like, he's sitting there and Favreau's like, well, I started watching all of the old FX specials from Star Wars. So I'm like, it's really cool how they did that. So I went in my garage and I just built a bunch of shit for fun. So then the ILM guys caught on to what I was doing, and they thought it was cool, so they came by my house and we built it all together. And then Filoni walked in and was like, what the hell are you fucking nerds doing? And they basically scratch built all this shit in Favreau's garage to film the spaceship scenes just like they did in the 70s.
Wow. That's great.
So, I mean, really cool.
That's
yeah,
cool.
like, and they were filming
yeah.
this shit with like GoPros.
Yeah.
You know, I
yeah.
mean, and
crazy.
and like Favreau was like, yeah, I went to a store, I bought a bunch of model kits, I crash built everything, and that's
Yeah.
how we have the ship. And it was funny. He kept it at his house. They were pissed off at
That
him
happened
because
in
they
the-
wanted
when they
it
were-
back, but he kept it at his house.
From the
yeah.
original trilogy, they had to go out and buy model kits of X-Wing fighters to use because they didn't have enough ships and stuff. So they went and bought like the Rebel kits and ended up using them in the movie.
Yeah.
So that's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Yep.
I feel like Favreau can't believe his own success. Like, he's so tickled by his success. Like, he never thought so like, that's why he's so into it. because it's like
and I mean, and it's really cool. I mean, he really is one of us. He's like, I mean, he's a guy who loves this
a
shit.
fanboy. Yeah,
In that thing when him and Filoni were talking about doing the Mandalorian, he was talking to Filoni and all that stuff, and he was sitting at his house on Christmas Day. And he fucked with Filoni. He took a picture of his feet with socks, and he had Boba Fett Christmas socks. And he sent those to Filoni, and Filoni kind of got a chuckle out of it. Well, later that night, he said, check this out. The dude wrote like story treatments for like 4 episodes, sitting there at Christmas dinner, just fucking around. And Filoni's like, dude, it's Christmas. Go spend time with your family.
he's like, have you met my family?
Yeah, so I mean, but it's really cool, and I mean, he's really enthusiastic. And another thing I thought was great too is that all of the stormtroopers that you see in those episodes, in those shows, that's all local people from 501st that they pulled in to be
that's
as
cool.
extras.
That's cool.
That's great.
And all of the people, like all the actors, Carl Weathers, Gina Carano, Pedro Pascal, they all said, they were like, these people walked in and some of their costumes looked better than what was coming out of dressing room.
Yeah, very
They
much.
know how to walk and they know how to hold guns. Like you don't have to
Yeah.
train
Yeah.
anybody. It's done.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I think that's really cool. I'm super excited about this series. Yeah, we're getting something again that has no Jedi in it, but dude, I don't need Jedi in something like this.
In the trailer when they
Yeah.
closed the dude into the
Yeah.
I was like,
and they don't.
that's-
This is the good, the bad, and the ugly in
Yeah.
Star
Right.
Wars, and I can't
Right.
wait to see this shit. It's going to be really fucking cool. Yeah, just some of the side note stuff too with the Mandalorian. There's a droid character that we thought was the IG-88, one of the bounty hunters that's featured in The Empire Strikes Back. He's actually IG-11, and he's going to be voiced by Taika Waititi, who was the director of Thor Ragnarok and What We Do in the Shadows. Also, what I think's really funny is if you remember in The Empire Strikes Back, they have these little kind of like little people that play these things that are called Ugnaughts. They look like little pigs. They actually have the C-3PO torn apart. There's an Ugnaught in this show, and it's voiced by Nick Nolte. So I think that's absolutely hilarious.
And wait, I just told
So-
Chris Bill Burr's in it, fellow ginger.
Oh yeah, Bill Burr.
Yeah.
Bill Burr is an uncredited role in this. So that's great. I hope he gets to keep the Boston accent in his in his
I just hope
character.
he's like sitting in a cantina ranting about something.
That's
just
Patton
going
Oswalt
on.
did a tweet.
Yeah,
And
really.
It's like, yeah, I can't wait to see Bill Burr. It's like, you're bragging about delivering a package fast. Like, it's this whole thing.
Yeah, I love me some Bill Burr.
Yeah.
My last piece of Star Wars news, the Episode 9 trailer. They showed that, which I actually didn't think we'd get to see that, but they dropped it the next day.
Yeah.
Okay, it's Episode 9. I'm happy it's over. Bring on the Mandalorian.
Right.
I-
Yeah.
I've been reading some of the rumors that, and Adam actually texted me some also, and they make a lot of sense. The reason why we don't know who Rey's parents are, and the reason we see Rey in the background with the dark robes holding the double-bladed lightsaber, is because the entire time Rey has been a clone. And there is a series of clones of Rey. And what makes me believe that is one of the scenes from The Last Jedi when she goes into the cave, there's the snap scene, and there's thousands of versions of her in the mirror. So
Yeah.
I think it's very possible this might turn out to be that way.
All right.
Also, the reason why I thought it was a pretty interesting idea is that this is a way of because they keep saying that this is supposed to tie in everything, that it is a callback to 1, 2, and 3
Yeah.
Yeah.
of the Clone
Yeah.
Wars.
And if there's anything that we've learned, Disney loves to throw big fuck yous to Star Wars fans.
Yeah.
So if she's a clone, well, she's obviously not a Mary Sue because the Force shit
Right.
was built into her to begin with.
exactly
So that's the big fuck you they get to throw at the
right.
fans.
See, if only you'd been patient.
Right, exactly. Because one of the best marketing strategies of a company is telling
Right.
fuck you to your customer base.
Yes.
But that's all right,
Yes.
though. You gave me the Mandalorian, so I'll let you slide.
Right.
All right, next on Marvel. And, oh, Jesus, so much to unpack.
Yes.
We'll start with the basic shit. WandaVision. I thought that it wasn't going to have Paul Bettany in it, but in fact,
it
he
does.
Oh
is
yeah,
in it.
yeah. I figured it was.
But it says
yeah.
he's not playing Vision.
Right. What this is going to be is they're saying that this is the world. It's going to be a kooky and weird world that the Scarlet Witch constructs that she kind of like wants her life to be.
Right.
This is kind of like a what if scenario. For
They-
her.
Like The Sims.
Yeah.
Yes.
uh-huh.
They did a comic book a couple of years ago with Vision where it was as if Vision had a family. And it was imagine a family in the suburbs, like a very kind of 1950s look to it, where you have the mom and the son and the daughter, but they all look like Vision. So I think that this series is going to be kind of a take on that, where it's Wanda's perfect world of, what if we could have had the family that now we can't because.
How many episodes? 6?
Yeah, I think the all of them are they're at a 6-episode limit. Is all the ones that they've announced. The ones that they've announced others at this, which we'll get to those in a second.
Right.
But they're saying that 6 episodes for this, 6 episodes for Hawkeye, 6 episodes for Loki, and 6 episodes for Falcon and Bucky. So and another thing too is in that WandaVision episode series, they're bringing back Kat Dennings, who played Natalie Portman's pal in Thor, and they're also bringing back Randall Park, he was the Asian FBI agent in Ant-Man.
Right. Gotcha.
So they're going to make apperances in this.
Yeah,
as well.
I thought that was a little weird when I heard that about Kat Dennings' character, because I'm like, she isn't connected in any way to
it's
Wanda.
all connected.
Well, yeah, it's all connected. Yes, that's right. I know. But
except Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I kind of like how little we know about all of this.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, it's connected.
It is exciting.
Speaking of connected, it's connected to the Doctor Strange movie.
yes, because she's going to be in it. Yeah.
Who
Right.
knows what?
But those two don't belong with Doctor Strange either.
Which
is equally as weird, but cool.
I'll let you say what you're going to say, Chris, but I have a point of, if this is going to be connected to movies, this is way beyond what Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. ever did. Like, now you kind of need to watch these series to kind of maybe know what the movies are going to be.
Exactly.
Yeah, because it's the same characters. It's the characters, even more so.
You used to be able to go to the movies and just be free and not have to worry about it, but now
here's the
or
brief.
maybe not.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. But
here's the brief history of why all these things came. The original idea is that everything was going to connect. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and the stuff on Netflix, it was all going to connect. Well, what happened is that Feige felt that he was kind of hamstrung by this team of writers. Marvel was originally, the MCU as we know it in the early days, was originally a collective of the TV guys, the movie guys, the comic book guys, and the merchandising guys. And it was like a big round table that put all this shit together. Well, when Feige was kind of recognized as being the real brain trust of this program, he went to Bob Iger and said, dude, fuck those guys. They're holding me back. I just want to do what I want to do. And if you let me do what I want to do, I will make you billions of dollars. And he wasn't lying.
Yeah.
So they broke Feige off from that shit, and they left these other guys over here somewhere. And that's the reason why you saw the disconnect of what was all supposed to be connected. And I agree with Feige. It's very difficult to try to hook television series that are run by different teams of people to what you're doing. Yeah. These shows that are going to be on Disney Plus, he is overseeing them, so he can make them plug into that larger Marvel universe. And I mean, a lot of these shows, really, if you think about what's going on so far, 2 out of the 4 shows that we know are actively in production are kind of these what-if scenarios in WandaVision and Loki.
They seem like side quests.
Yeah, they're like these side quest shows where the other two, at least we think, Hawkeye and the Falcon Winter Soldier show, are going to be things that are direct events from Endgame.
I had read Loki's in Thor.
I don't know. I have no idea, but I know the Loki show show offshoots from the alternate Loki grabbing the Tesseract in the alternate past and sidestepping.
Well, it's comic books. And we're making this movie. These are movies about comic books. And if there's going to be one person that's going to come back from the dead when you thought he was dead, it would be Loki.
Oh, absolutely.
Out of all of these characters.
I don't know how they didn't call it the Loki show, because that's catchy.
I think that would be pretty awesome if they did that.
It's very Loki. The Loki show.
Yeah, and it takes place in the 70s.
Right.
So I mean, that makes complete sense.
If any of, I thought it was going to happen in Endgame. I thought it was going to be like, oh, Loki's dead. And it's like, oh, look, he's not dead.
He flies by
because he's the trickster.
Right.
He's an illusionist. I mean,
he's too committed to that role, and the fans love him. He's not going anywhere.
What I'm also interested. I'm really interested now in seeing the Falcon show now.
Yeah.
Because
I am too.
Yeah.
What's going to happen is that they're bringing in the U.S. agent.
Yes, I heard about that.
And it's going to be played by Kurt Russell's son, Wyatt Russell, and then they're also bringing back Emily Van Camp, who played Sharon Carter in Civil War.
But my thing is like, go ahead. Finish.
But this is what's cool, though. The premise of the show is the U.S. government says, well, we don't have Captain America anymore, so this guy's going to be Captain America. Where Falcon sits back and says,
Right.
well, Steve gave me the shield.
Right.
I'm Captain America. And it's going to be that struggle for him to become Captain America.
See, that's what I was hoping this was
Fucking
going to
cool.
be. And I'm glad. I'm glad that's what
My
it's gonna
feeling, though, is, not to contradict Scott, because I would never do that, but the show might be him becoming Captain America. When the movies pick up,
Right.
he's already Captain America. Do you need to know how he got that way?
Right.
Or you just accept Steve gave him the shield, and in the next movie, he's Captain America?
Right.
So do you have to watch the shows?
No,
That's my point. Like,
I agree
they're
with
making
that.
it more important for you, like they want you to watch them, but like, do you
I
really
would-
need to watch them?
Personally, and then I'll let you go. I think anybody who is that much of a fan that would give that much of a shit about whether he got it or not they're gonna
you're gonna
pony
watch
up $6 and watch
Yeah,
it.
well, also, I think it would be great if they had something like this where it's like him having to come to terms with, and who knows, man, maybe at the end of the series, he says, you know what, there is only one Steve Rogers, and I'm just going to be the Falcon.
Right.
It could be.
But you see, I like that. I like that that's going to be examined by now Falcon and Winter Soldier dealing with the fact that, okay, Steve's off somewhere now, just retired. Well, now we got to carry it on. And how are we going to do this?
I think it's really cool. I'm actually very excited about
Yeah.
that show. And I mean, dude, Anthony Mackie, who plays the Falcon, I mean, he's a local boy,
Yeah.
man.
It's
He's a
kinda
New
like-
Orleanian.
Oh,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah. And it's kind of like the first season of the Peggy Carter TV show where it dealt with her letting go of Steve. That's what I'd like to see.
See, I like that show
Yeah.
better than Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I can't believe one
Yeah.
got canceled.
Yeah, I know. I was really disappointed that Peggy Carter got, because I thought that would have been great to see if they would have worked that into the whole
Yeah.
building of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, I really like that.
That's
Yeah.
what it was supposed to be.
Yeah. It really stinks that.
Yeah, I remember that
just-
second.
it happens.
I remember
It
that
happens.
second, the season 2 opener of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is her and the Howling Commandos in the
Right.
beginning of the episode, and I was
Right.
like,
And
wow,
even when
that's-
when they introduced the Black Widow from back in the late 40s and all of
Yeah.
that, I thought that was cool. I thought it was like, hey, we're establishing all of that, and probably they're going to build a little bit on that in the Black Widow movie.
probably.
You know, some of the concepts that would have been examined.
Well,
we'll get
speaking of
rolled into
Peggy
that.
Carter, we get the animated series, which is going to be What If, which I'm
Yeah.
really excited about.
Yeah, I
This
think it's going to
comics
be
one
really
was so
cool.
good.
And they said the What If is going to play directly off of the MCU, and all of the MCU people
Yeah.
that are featured in
It's
this,
the way it should
they're
be.
coming back to voice their characters.
Right. It should be
That's
that way.
so awesome.
New TV series, which are going to tie in directly. We're going to have Moon Knight, we're going to have She-Hulk, and we're going to have Miss Marvel. And I'm willing to bet Miss Marvel is going to be our Kamala Khan version.
No, it is.
of
They've
the-
already
of the-
said.
oh, they already
Yeah.
said it. So
Oh,
there
it's
you go.
got to be.
She-Hulk
It's
was
got to
like
be.
my all-time favorite comic, like
Yeah.
in a certain period of my life. So I saw that and I like lost my mind.
Right.
So-
I would love it if She-Hulk still has a lot of that humor to it.
Yeah, that was always the
a
thing.
lot
Like,
of
the covers
other-
of the comics
yes.
were always really funny, like
Right,
in a Deadpool
right.
kind of way. So
What I'm hoping for is She-Hulk is that they go old school, and I'm hoping that She-Hulk is played by 2 actresses.
Yes.
I'm hoping that
That'd be cool
I'm
if
hoping
they
they
did
don't
that.
do a CG
Yeah,
version.
Yeah.
I hope that they get a muscle-bound actress, paint her green, and she is She-Hulk. I hope that they go the old school
Lou
Incredible
Ferrigno.
Hulk, Bill Bixby,
Emperor.
Lou
Yeah.
Ferrigno.
Yeah.
That would be great. In fact, Luke Ferrigno could do the voice for her. They can put a harmonizer
but she pretty
on
much
it.
Right,
lives
right,
as She-Hulk,
exactly.
though, right?
Well, at various times in the comics, they've started making it where she'll change.
Okay. 'Cause,
But
like,
for the most part, she's always
yeah,
She-Hulk.
when I read it, she was always just that.
Yeah, because they've even done some now in the later years where it's her.
You read
going-
the satirical run.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
also, but they're. I mean, some of the other stuff is pretty satirical too. Still,
Yeah.
the newer stuff where what they'll have is like her going to defend a case in court, and she's Green She-Hulk, but with like the suit on, like with,
Yeah,
with
yeah,
a
yeah,
skirt, pantsuit, like
Right.
skirt.
And
suit
there
type
was
thing,
also a long time where she teamed up with Howard the Duck in the
Yeah.
comic. They were like
yeah,
a duo.
yeah. So they still keep some of the lightheartedness. I think that's the most important thing is that Jennifer Walters is not the downer that Bruce Banner is.
No, yeah, she's like
So-
the opposite. Have you read
Right.
Chris? Have you read any of Miss Marvel with Kamala?
No.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, I think that one thing that's good about that too is once again it'll be a character that's very lighthearted. I hope that they make her more like, hey, let's be excited.
Yeah,
I'm excited. Hey, I'm Miss Marvel.
Yeah.
I
And it's a,
think
I mean,
it'd
it's
be
a way to
cool.
get like I'm sure it's going to be targeted at like younger girls. because-
Exactly.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
make
but
them,
that's
I mean,
fine.
they're fans.
She's like the female Peter
Yeah.
Parker.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's it's cool. I mean, Moon Knight's a no-brainer. A lot of people are like, "Oh, they're going to talk to Keanu about Moon Knight." I don't think so. I don't think that,
I mean,
Keanu. I think at some point will star in a Marvel
Yeah,
movie.
yeah.
No,
It
they're in
will
talks
happen.
with him, but that's when they announced Kit Harington They announced Moon Knight and him at the same time. It's like, oh no, he's going to be in,
Well, there's
the
like
Eternals.
five. There's like five. They said that Feige said he's been in touch with Keanu like 5 different times to be in different stuff, and he's never available.
Yeah.
I think they'll hit the mark at some point. Black Panther 2 announced for February of 2020. So we're going to take another trip back to Wakanda.
I thought it was 2021.
Yeah, I thought
I'm sorry,
it was
2021. I'm sorry.
Or 2022 even, or
Yeah,
something
it's
like
like
that.
it's late.
It is 2020.
It's
It's
2022?
phase 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's much further along. I think that's what it is.
Then I must have misread something there.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
I just-
2022.
because
it makes sense. They got so much shit.
I know.
it's
Oh,
just-
dude, there is a bunch of stuff that they've announced now. They have.
And that's the other thing too is that I'm really hoping that the rumor is true that it's going to be Namor.
Yeah, I think that would be
They-
great.
It's,
So
it's
awesome.
time.
King versus King. I'd like
Yeah.
to see that.
Land and sea.
And
Yeah.
last news before we get into the real bombshell here. Eternals they brought the cast out. The notables of that are Angelina Jolie, Salma Hayek, Kit Harington, Richard Madden. We have 2 Starks that are not named Tony. We have Robb Stark and
Oh yeah, that's
Jon
right.
Snow. Who is
Right.
I
Same
guess
movie, that's so weird.
who's a Targaryen Stark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have 2 from House Stark in there now that are in the same movie.
Right. I
so-
tried to play Tony Stark in a Game of Thrones role playing game, and the guy wouldn't let me.
Oh, they wouldn't
No,
let
he
you
wouldn't
do
let me
that,
do
huh?
it. He wouldn't let me do it.
We go to an asshole shop. They don't let you have fun.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he just
right.
wouldn't let me
It's
do
rules
it.
and
So it was like, you can't be that.
You should have named it Antonio. And that
Well,
could've
I
gone
wanted
right.
to. I also proposed the idea of being Rick Martel for like the whole wrestler, and he wouldn't let that go either.
The model.
So yeah, he wouldn't let that go either.
The model Rick Martel.
So, but
Rick the Sand Snake Martel.
Adam, you have to be serious.
Yeah. Oh, and also the Sand Snake Martel, who was played by Pedro Pascal in Game of Thrones season 5, who met his horrible demise by the mountain.
Right.
He's actually playing the Mandalorian. So
Yeah.
he's gonna.
Yeah,
He's gonna be the main, so.
I feel that the Eternals. This is some kind of way of recovering from the fact that Inhumans bombed.
Yeah.
Because the Eternals are very similar to the Inhumans
See, I don't
in the
know
same
anything about the
concepts.
Eternals,
I don't
so
either.
I'm really
Yes.
excited
Let me. Well, I'm gonna.
about- break it down, like dumb it up for me.
Okay, think of it this way. If you can't have the Inhumans, all right, let's go get the Eternals. Even better, if I can't have the New Gods because the New Gods are owned by DC, I'm going to get the Eternals and do them. Because that's really how the Eternals came about.
Right.
The Eternals, when Jack Kirby left DC and came back to
That
Marvel
was his
briefly,
big fuck you.
he did the Eternals, which were like just so much like the New Gods. I mean, it was the same concepts,
Wow.
everything.
There
I
is
mean,
so
it was,
much levels of shit that's happening here.
Yeah.
Of what Adam's talking
and
about.
probably the thing with the Eternals, they've always kind of been in the background. They've never really, like, compared to the Inhumans, the Humans are like front and center in a lot of Marvel stories. The Eternals are like these background characters. And the character Circe, who is one of the Eternals, she was one of the Avengers for a while.
Okay.
That's probably some of the most involved that they used to be, kind of in even like the 80s and 90s and like that. And then they had a series that Neil Gaiman had done like about 10 years ago. That was a kind of a revival again, but it was just a limited series. So I was very surprised for them to pick these characters out.
Yeah.
But
I can't wait to see where they go with it.
yeah, I know it's something that I think the basic concepts are: there's the Eternals, there's the Deviants, and they were created by the Celestials. So that can tie into things
they're
with
like
Guardians of the
demigods.
Galaxy.
Gotcha.
Yes, they're kind of like demigods.
They were play on Greek gods, basically.
I've read
The
like a
same thing
little
is-
blurb on it, but it's
Well,
it's not something I ever read.
Right.
The interesting thing that happens behind the scenes is that the Inhumans is going to be launched as a full movie property that was supposed to be released this year, actually.
Right.
And what happened was that when the fracture happened between Feige and Ike Perlmutter's group that was doing television, that split was a result of him losing out on the Inhumans because it went to TV. Okay. That was originally going to be a movie. That went to TV, and now we have
was
the
terrible.
Eternals.
Oh my
And-
God,
It was
terrible.
so
God-awful.
bad.
I was
so
gonna
bad.
ask, like, I never watched it, but I'm like,
Yeah, it was just, man, they had
great
those characters are
great
solid
actors.
characters.
yeah.
Solid characters,
I
solid
knew more about
concept,
them.
tied in with the Kree, all of
It
that,
had another Game of Thrones actor in it.
and they just Yeah, that's right, because they had the guy who played Ramsay Bolton
yeah.
was
Yeah,
Maximus.
and the guy who
Yeah.
played Black
He's
Bolt is
amazing.
now playing Pike on Star Trek Discovery.
Yeah.
Oh, that was
and they
him.
say he's great.
Yeah,
They say
yeah.
he's a great
it was
actor.
a stacked cast. It just
Right, yeah, it just didn't, it just did not have a good look.
So I saw their lineup, the Marvel's lineup in with Phase 4 and Phase 5, and there's no real team up Avengers movie to end each of those phases.
Right, there
that
isn't.
that we know of.
Yeah, that we
Well,
know of. Yeah,
That we know of, unless they mix everybody into a Doctor Strange movie like they
Right.
did with Civil War or.
yeah.
But I mean,
It's-
there are already 3
Yeah.
in for next year. So I don't know.
Yeah.
the first Avengers movie with just the 6 of them. What phase was that?
That was Phase 1.
That was Phase 1.
Yeah.
Phase 1, the very first Avengers movie ended Phase 1.
All right.
Then Phase 2.
I guess we weren't paying attention to phases as much back then.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah.
That seemed like a long time. But
Then Phase 2, I think, was kicked off with Captain America: Winter Soldier, if I'm
Right.
not mistaken.
okay,
Yeah, and then that
that was just
Yeah,
one
it was
of them.
about-
wasn't it? It
and then
wasn't Iron Man that kicked off Phase 2.
Iron Man 3 kicked off Phase 2.
Yeah,
You're
because
correct.
the original Iron Man came out in 2008, and then Avengers was 2012, so that was 4 years.
Phase 2 ended
All right,
with
well, there you go.
Yeah,
Phase 2 actually didn't end with Avengers 2. It actually ended with Ant-Man.
Right.
Was
Right.
the end of Phase 2.
But-
and then Phase 3 took over, and
Yeah,
now
the,
here
the
we
only
are.
thing I'm getting to is is it that weird?
Well, it is because Age of Ultron and then Ant-Man. And then for this one, was it? Yeah,
Yeah, with this one,
Ultron, then Ant-Man. For this one, it's Endgame, then
Endgame and
Spider-Man.
then Spider-Man, yeah.
What I'm trying to say is there's
all right.
no big team up to get
Before,
us
yeah,
out.
I got you.
And there could, but
that
it,
we
it
know
could
of.
be coming. But you never know. I mean, you never know to where one of these movies, it might end up being like Captain America: Civil War, which ends up being like Avengers Light.
yeah,
Right.
but
Right.
I'm fine with them. This is a good wave of introducing new characters,
I agree.
and I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
Yeah, well,
I'm
I mean,
excited about all.
I
of
think
Right.
I think more than ever now, we always say it. Oh man, now we're going to see how much strength Marvel really has. I think that's even more so now because you're dipping into a lot of territory with a lot of secondary characters.
Oh,
I mean,
dude.
let's call it for what it was.
Shang-Chi, bringing him in?
Yeah,
I
I mean,
never
it's-
would have thought
yeah.
they'd made a movie of him.
But let's call it for what it really is. Downey and Evans carried this franchise.
Oh, yes,
I mean,
absolutely.
they carried the franchise, and now
Yes.
those guys are gone. Well,
Yes.
one's totally gone, and one's kind of gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, now the thing with it is you're going to break ground with all new characters. I mean, yeah, you have the Doctor Strange character and the Black Panther character to really carry in a lot of stuff. But
Black Widow.
well, I mean, yeah, but I mean the Black Widow. I think this is a thank you for your service, Scarlet movie. I think is what
Yeah.
this is.
Yeah, I think she's
maybe.
ready. I think that she's ready to move on.
Yeah.
She's another one that's, she's been in a lot of the movies also.
I think that she went to the producers and Feige. She was like, "Look, dude, I honestly, I was kind of the first female superhero in these new waves of movies. Wonder Woman got something. Why can't I have something?"
Right,
And Feige
yeah,
was
yeah.
like,
They've
"I
kind of been
agree with
teasing
you."
it for a while, so I'm glad they're
Yeah.
finally doing it because I
Yeah.
don't think they're ever going to do it.
Well, also, Captain Marvel. I mean, right there already within the MCU.
but
No
here's the thing,
sequel announced, by the way.
Captain Marvel.
Yeah, no sequel announced.
Yeah, no sequel announced for Captain Marvel.
Right.
I mean, obviously, Marvel has earned our trust as moviegoers after all this time. Even
Sure.
their worst movies are still pretty watchable. I know there's ones that you just
Yeah,
absolutely hate, but it's like Age of Ultron is not a great movie. But I left the theater, I'm like, okay,
yeah.
I wasn't furiously screaming or pulling my hair out.
The only
Right,
movie
right.
that I have to say in the whole arsenal of the Marvel movies that I think is a turd is Iron Man 2. But even that movie,
watchable.
See, I'll take
Yeah.
that over
even that movie,
See,
Dark
though-
World.
I
but-
actually thought that
yeah, Dark World is another one.
Iron
but
Man-
even that, I'm like, okay.
I disliked Iron Man 3 more than Iron Man 2.
Oh, I don't
That
know
was a Tony
about
Stark
that.
movie.
No,
That's
but
what I was- yeah.
here's my reason. It's because I felt like I was watching a Lethal Weapon movie because it was
Yeah,
Shane Black who
yeah.
did it.
Oh,
And
yeah.
he was Tony Stark more than he was Iron Man.
Yeah, but I was
That's
okay
my
with that.
thought.
It's like, well, we got
I like
to know
Tony
him.
Stark.
Yeah, I'm,
Yeah,
I'm,
yeah.
I'm okay with that
But I
totally.
see all your points.
Yeah,
I
but
just feel like
Yeah.
I didn't love Captain Marvel. I enjoyed it, but I've watched it a few more times since.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, I like it better as I watch it. I just didn't know that world, but
Yeah.
I've never left a Marvel movie like.
I didn't.
Yeah,
re-
it's hard for me now to make a list of what's my favorite and what's the ones I dislike
Yeah,
the most
yeah.
because there's so many of them. And it's hard. It's like it used to be easy when I was younger to say, "Oh, well, yeah, man, this Batman movie is my favorite movie ever that they did." And then now it's like, oh my god,
Yeah, there's
how do
just
I
so many
rank these?
comic book movies.
Yeah,
It's
like
not
how do
only-
I rank
yeah.
all these now? Like if somebody said, "Give me your top 5," I'm like, whoa. Let
Oh,
me-
I,
Yeah,
I can
I
feel
feel
it
like-
easily
I
give
feel
you
like-
that.
it's like
I can give you my
somebody's
top
choice.
5 like that.
Right, I got to leave out somebody. Somebody's got to be number 6 that I would.
Shit, I can give you my top 3 right now: Dark Knight, Winter
Yeah,
Soldier,
Dark
and
Knight.
fucking Batman. And
Dark Knight is still my favorite.
Logan.
Yeah.
That's top 3,
Those
and
are
then you
great.
can
Right.
easily throw Spider-Man 2 and fucking Captain America or Guardians of the Galaxy in there. Easy.
Right.
How about
I mean,
that Spider-Man?
Yeah, so that's the real thing is now they've groomed the Spider-Man character to come in and kind of take over Tony Stark's legacy, only for him to be pulled away and dragged right back to Sony.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Thanks,
I mean,
Sony.
I don't know.
well, I
But
don't
also
blame,
thanks
I don't
Disney
blame Sony.
because both of them, they're both involved in it. It's a business decision. They're both to blame. They both somebody got greedy more than the other one. They're probably both greedy.
But
And,
I'm trusting Sandy Vagina that something is going to get worked out. And
well,
we
here's
do-
the other thing.
I don't know.
I don't know that I care anymore. I kind of cared, but now, like, I love that character so much.
Yeah.
And I love that Tom Holland does it. That going into Sony, let's say Sony has it. Let's say that deal is done. Sony moves forward and they do 8 movies. Who knows? There's so much momentum going into this Sony new Spider-Man that it's going to be one of the bigger movies that has ever happened.
Tom Holland said that there's more movies to come.
Right.
And what I think now is that if you do want to do Venom and Carnage and Spider-Man, now's the time to do it.
He's in.
Yeah,
Yes.
Woody
Because-
Harrelson was in too.
Yeah, because the original Venom that was in Spider-Man 3, the Raimi
Oh,
Spider-Man,
Oh God.
that was I was like, why? Why did you even throw Venom into that movie?
Because Sony made
They
him.
insisted,
Yeah.
and he
Sony
didn't like that
insisted.
character, and he didn't know what to do with it.
yeah, and it was just such a waste. I felt, I was like, man, that just
His original plan was to be Spider-Man and Sandman.
Yes.
That was because at the time Thomas
Yes.
Hayden Church was a
was
huge
huge, yeah.
actor. Yeah, I mean, he
right.
was-
He got the short end of that stick.
Yeah.
too.
Well,
Well,
I
that's
mean,
what I felt is that you could do a whole movie just on Spider-Man.
Well,
and
just, I think
Sandman.
the ending of Far From Home was such like a huge. I mean, with like revealing J. Jonah Jameson and all that. It's like,
Yeah.
how do you not follow it up?
I know. And then they,
His whole world got turned upside down. I was
now,
like,
now
we'll
who
never
knows? They
resolve
might
that.
carry that on into the Sony movies.
Oh, I think
but
they will.
yeah, but-
I think what's
Yeah.
going to happen is that with
Because there's some kind of joint ownership of the stories for those.
well before
it's-
before we get into this, let me social work everybody through Marvel Tardation here. Okay, the way it works is that Marvel, who at the time is owned by, they're either owned independently or I think they were owned by the makeup company at the time. Were they owned by Maybelline or CoverGirl or one of them?
I thought it was Revlon. or
Revlon,
something
that was
like
it.
that.
So
Maybe they're born with it.
So they go, right, maybe they're born with it, but maybe she's Maybelline. But anyway, look, they go and they sign away the rights to Spider-Man to do the movies over at Sony.
Mm-hmm.
So they go and they do all that shit. So now the Marvel tards want to throw all the shit at because, Disney didn't own it at the time. Yeah, dude, but guess what? Disney has to live with the fucking mistakes of what they bought, okay? So this is where it is. So Disney walks in and says, we want Spider-Man. Spider-Man, they can say whatever the way they want. Spider-Man is the face of Marvel Comics.
Yes.
Period. So
Yeah.
he is very, very integral to that brand.
Well, I was talking to a friend of mine that is a comic book guy, and I said to him, so I'm going to throw this at you. I said, what if Marvel was to say, well, if Sony's going to own the movie rights, we just sell Spider-Man to Sony? And the look on his face of shock, I said, see, that's the same thing I had on my face when I thought of this.
Yeah.
Because how can you have Marvel Comics without Spider-Man?
Well, and that's exactly it. So they go and they cut the deal. Sony's failed spectacularly with the Jamie Foxx sequel to the Mark Webb movie, okay? So they walk in and they say, okay, well, look, Marvel right now, we're on fire. Let us help you. Let me help you. Mm-hmm. So they say, this is what we're going to do. We're going to send Feige over as a consultant. He's going to be an executive producer. What we want is 5% of prime dollars. And what it means by prime dollars is after you pay for the advertising, after you pay for everything and all that bullshit, and once all of the overhead is handled, when you get down to the brass tacks of the profits, they get the 5% of that. But they get 100% of the merchandising rights, basically pulling the George Lucas Star Wars deal. Hence why you are seeing a Spider-Man attraction in a Marvel Campus Avengers thing in their theme parks, okay?
Right.
So they do the first movie. it does spectacularly well. They do this other movie, it becomes the highest grossing movie in Sony's history. So they go back to Sony and they say, okay, well, look, let's do another movie because now, they got that big dick Marvel leverage now,
Right.
So Feige goes walking back in there and they say, look, why don't we do it this way? Mm-hmm. Why don't let us put up 50% of the money? You put up 50% of the money. We still want 100% rights of the marketing. And we'll just split the profits 50-50. Well, here's Sony sitting back here and they're saying, well, wait a minute. Your company fucked up. You fired Lord and Miller. Lord and Miller came to Sony. They made Into the Spider-Verse, which fucking rocks. Yeah. We're going to give Lord and Miller a multi-million-dollar contract just to produce Spider-Man shit for us. So as far as we're concerned, this big split that you're talking about, it's really not worth it to us because we can make all the money by ourselves because we own Spider-Man.
Right.
So that's how all this shit went down. And it's just business. While the
it's totally business.
While the mob and the passionate fans and the Marvel tards gnash their teeth and throw up the middle fingers and all that bullshit, it's still Sony's property. However, the mob, the comic book fans, and the Marvel tards are the ones with the wallets.
Yes.
Right. So the thing with it is I don't know whether this article really broke his test market research. I don't know. When you have Kevin Feige and Tom Holland come out at a Disney convention and say, yeah, it's over.
Yes.
I mean, that's pretty...
They were pretty emphatic about it this weekend.
Yeah, they were very emphatic about it.
But it might be over right now.
No. Oh, absolutely.
Look, dude.
But here's the thing: was Spider-Man even announced to? It wasn't even announced to be any kind of future phase.
Look, you're talking to the guy who said Spider-Man joining the MCU will never happen.
Right.
You're talking to that guy right here.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, look, from that right there, I'll eat my words. Anything is possible.
Yeah.
Look,
anything's on the table.
What you just said about everybody having, they all have the wallet and they're all going to spend money or not spend money on a movie. If that movie comes out, Sony produced, starring Tom Holland, and it's not good, they'll take a crap on it. But if it's good, they're going to go see it.
Amen.
They're going to go
absolutely,
see it.
Scott. Absolutely, without question. And then when you sit there and you're building your own Spider-Man universe, because as Adam knows, Spider-Man is a character that has as hefty of a rogues gallery as Batman and the Flash.
Yeah. Oh,
He's
man.
got fantastic characters that wrap around him. It's very easy to build a Spider-Verse. Very simple. And, dude, you got Lord and Miller walking in there and saying, we're going to do the answer of Avengers, but with Spider-Man and his shit.
Right.
And Chris Miller and Philip Lord are going to fucking direct and write that shit.
Yeah, I already had people asking me if they thought that because of the success of Into the Spider-Verse, if you would see a live-action Miles Morales, a live-action Spider-Gwen.
Why not?
And I said, hey, man, they introduced the concept of the Spider-Verse in an animated movie. What's to stop them from doing it in a live-action movie?
I wouldn't have doubted if this Spider-Man deal would have fell through.
Yes.
Disney would have held on to it. That they wouldn't. That had to be their next deal. Let's do a live-action.
Well, hopefully they've seen what can happen with a Spider-Man movie and take it seriously.
Right. Well, you see, that's the thing too. Is that Into the Spider-Verse showed everybody that I can build something just off of Spider-Man's properties.
Right.
Yep. And it doesn't have to be all of the villains. I can do it with all of his supporting cast too. All these other versions of Peter Parker. I can just do whatever I want. They can.
I'm really interested to see where it goes.
Now, in these movies, they won't be able to use characters like Happy Hogan or Nick Fury or Tony Stark. They won't be able to use these kind of characters. But, dude, like J. Jonah Jameson, they can use that.
Yeah.
I thought Scott had a fantastic idea.
What?
You want to drop the net? Yeah, right. I actually agree.
Glad this is being recorded.
Listen to this shit, and you will agree. Record this.
We'll see.
Scott said, Spider-Man 3, next villain you roll out, you cast D'Onofrio as the fucking Kingpin. Pow!
Wow.
That would be the shit if they did that.
Yeah, if they could. Can they?
It ties it to fucking Daredevil.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be the Daredevil version of Kingpin. Hey, look, dude, it's no different than the guy who played Charles Manson in Aquarius, played him in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. That's it.
Can I pretend like this was your idea and not his?
Sure, absolutely.
Right. Yeah, it's a great idea.
That's a fantastic idea. I think it's great. When he texted that, I was like, dude, Scott actually said something I agree with. This is like the third time ever. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Dude, that's a spectacular idea. Joan?
You can tell it was all spelled right.
Yeah. Fucking great. So I mean that's it. So I mean, dude, I think that's really the deal, man. Is when because me again, always the guy who's the naysayer. Scott even said same things like, dude, watch Feige come out and say something about Spider-Man. I'm like, dude, they're like at their own expo. They're on a high. Why do they want to bring shit down?
Right.
Not only Feige, Holland too.
Yeah.
Hey, man, yeah, look, we're not connected anymore, but, dude, we got a lot of gas in the tank, and we're going to do some cool shit.
Yeah,
And, hey, guess what? They might be capable of doing some cool shit.
Yeah.
They already hired the writers that wrote those first two movies.
Right.
Now, from what my understanding is that they're in a war with the director, with John Watts, because Marvel is trying to hire him to do other shit. So they're in a war with that guy who did the first two movies.
I got you.
So there it is.
Sony needs to pick up some of that Jumanji money and invest it in him.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. So, all righty. Well, I think that's it. We covered all of the substantial stuff from D23. Anybody has anything to add? Any stuff like that? Or
No, that was pretty comprehensive.
No, I mean, other than to say that this is quite a lot of information that we just went over, because this past weekend I was on my phone when I wasn't at home looking at stuff all the time because they were announcing quite a lot of stuff.
And this is all the shit that this doesn't include.
This is the big stuff,
right?
Yeah,
this is the big stuff that I'm talking about. Man, if you just go and say everything Disney announced at the expo,
right.
I mean, dude, like theme parks, merchandise, toys. Shit that's coming on the regular Disney Channel. I mean, all kinds of shit.
What you said at the beginning of the show, this is now almost like their own Comic-Con. They don't even need Comic-Con. They
really don't.
They
I was
just
really
do
shocked
this.
they were there this year, but
Yeah.
cool.
Well, they're always going to show their presence and they're going to show their love there.
Well, they
to
did
that
for a
stuff.
couple
Right.
years.
But I mean, there's even things that are happening on that Disney network that isn't things that we talk about on this show. But I mean, dude, you think about all of those like tween girl shows that came out
they
in
said
between
something
the 90s.
about like getting Hilary Duff.
She's coming back to play in the
doing
Lizzie
something with
McGuire
one of her-
fucking
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
So they're pulling her back.
Right.
Pixar's doing like a television series based on Monsters Inc. and they got John Goodman and Billy Crystal coming back.
Yeah, I heard that
shit,
Lawrence Fishburne is going to produce a Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur animated show.
I just saw that. Yeah,
Yeah, that's that's a Marvel property too.
Right.
Yeah, I mean it's fucking cool, man. I mean they got a lot of cool stuff, and I think there's going to be a lot of cool behind the scenes shit, a lot of cool little shows that we're not even thinking about. That it's going to be featurette stuff, and dude, just the shit on Nat Geo. I mean, we haven't even seen really the big rollout of what they're doing with that, and if you're into that kind of stuff. I mean, dude, that's the shit.
Scott
I mean,
he may never leave his house again.
I told Gary that over the weekend. I'm like, it'll probably take me at least a month just to search through it. Not watch anything, just to search, see what's on it.
All your options.
Yeah.
He's gonna be like Wile E. Coyote with like a napkin around his neck. Just
I've told people at work that they should just rename like Disney Plus to Adam Plus, because with Star Wars and Marvel, I mean, geez.
You have enough of that shit alone. And that's the other thing too, is that they announced is that there isn't going to be this all-in-one sitting bullshit. Like when you watch The Mandalorian, it's only one episode per week.
And I love that.
So
I'm
okay
I
with
love
that.
it too.
I'm not into all this binge watching stuff. I'm fine. I can wait.
Get, like if I see something that's 12 episodes, I'm instantly overwhelmed and don't even want to start it.
Yeah.
Also, that is to stop people from just going $6, hit it and quit it.
Yeah, that's
But it's a good enough price point that you'll stick around.
I'm not
They
complaining.
did it
I'm
with
just saying.
Star Trek Discovery with my friends and I. We all chipped in together to get it because we knew we were going to have to watch it for like, a month or 2 or 3, whatever it was for the episodes. And that's why we did it.
And another thing too is Disney said that they're putting special software in their stuff to where you can't share your password.
Of course they are, because it's Disney.
Yeah.
Hey, dude, fuck it.
No, you gotta make money.
To be honest with you, I think all of them should do that.
It's a great price point.
It's fucking bullshit, dude.
Right. Yeah,
$6.
Yeah,
$6 fucking dollars for that programming.
Right.
I mean, come on, man.
Right.
It's one less Popeye's chicken sandwich that I can't get, but I'm okay.
Yes,
See?
exactly.
There you go.
Don't break my dude. I went to get one today. Motherfuckers was sold out.
Oh, yeah.
Bitches.
Yes.
I'm like, my shirts aren't fitting. It's becoming a problem.
Yeah, I hear you.
But that's a different show.
All right, well, last thing here, and we're just going to cap this off and sign off. First of all, Gary, Adam, thank you very much for coming back. We certainly appreciate it.
That's what I do.
Also, go to Rivertown Theaters and follow up with what Gary's doing in far productions. We got 9 to 5 coming up, and I'm sure there's announcements for future stuff also.
7 more shows.
Absolutely.
Just come to the website.
Also, jump over to iTunes. Please subscribe. Join our Facebook group at PPVGuys Group. You can also join us at Twitter, and you can join us also on YouTube to listen to our shows, and also subscribe at iTunes. Thanks for listening. And